Kingcayne.
All right. What's going on, y'all? Um, yeah, I gotta keep it real. I had no plans of even getting on today. Cause honestly, I didn't know what to talk about. I didn't really have much on my mind. But you know, I got this schedule, so I'm going to keep it. Um, the topic for today is battling addiction. It's a heavy topic. I mean, if you're going through the battle yourself, if you're not, then you're like, yeah, for sure. I'll, for sure, definitely battle it, definitely go through it. If you are fighting a battle, this is a lot different topic, right? So, or it's a lot heavier topic for you, because how many times have you heard that fight addiction or get over the thing that currently has you in a bind, in a hold. Uh, as someone who had his own battle, probably even has his own battle, which I'll get into. As someone who has spoken to a lot of people and people have told me about their battles, I think it's important to hear, especially, especially from someone that can identify with the struggle itself. I think it's important to hear that it is possible to overcome said battles. I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 online. I got back on recently. Yeah, I know. Like, I took a break from this. I think that's the point of an MMO. It's like, you can get burned out really easily. I see people play like with their own concept and their own, agenda when they get on. So they're not like, uh, they're not doing, on every day for the entire year. I know they get off and on, but I wanted to get back on, and sure enough, I got caught. I got addicted to it. But this isn't the type of addiction I'm referring to. There are some people that are addicted to this to gaming, right? The only time that becomes a problem is when it interferes with you and your purpose, with you in accessing, you know, your abilities to really shine in life. Now, some people, they have a career out of this. Like, they wake up every day and they game. That's something that they do, not just for fun, but just as as a job, right? And that's awesome. That's dope. Some people don't have that ability at all to make money from this, and the only thing they can think about, or the only thing that they do when they get up, is they gotta game. Like, they have to, like, it's like necessary. Like, I gotta be number one in this or number one in that, or I gotta constantly be on the sticks, as I call it. All right. And that only becomes a problem when that starts to reshape the way you think, starts to reshape your mind, because you get so accustomed and reliant on the thing, and you're more reliant on the thing, on the game, than you are in your own reality. And that is when addiction comes into play. That's when something becomes an issue. The reason I say it with something lighthearted like gaming, at least in my mind, is lighthearted. I don't know too many people that have, like, I don't know too many people where gaming has ruined their life. If someone has, then forgive me for talking about it so lightly like that. But in my experience, dang, Emily, in my experience, gaming has not been so detrimental to somebody where it prevents them from getting to where they need to go. As someone who's gamed a lot in his life, if this is your first time listening to me, like, I do or I had a very, very successful career. I worked in tech, majority of my career, still partnering with tech companies. I'm a consultant now, but, I still dominate in the tech field. And in my free time, I do this, right? In my free time, I game. And it's fun. And sometimes the day can get away from me, right? When I really need a distraction, like I know what I can do. I know I can game. And I'm cool with that because it helps me decompress. So I'm not saying that, getting on this is so detrimental to someone's health that they can't succeed. I don't believe that to be the case. But think about other things that people can get addicted to, just like a game. Let's start with an obvious one. Let's start with alcohol, I would say, because I think that is something that majority of people are familiar with being detrimental to someone's life, mentality, relationships, whatever the case may be, even health. A lot of people, or at least in my experience, for the ones that I spoke to, that are addicted to alcohol, it's the feeling of it more than anything. It's the feeling of alcohol more than it is, the substance itself. Obviously, I don't know if you're not a drinker, if you don't have a great bartender, it's not that tasty or it's not delicious by any means necessary drinking alcohol. So a lot of it is more of the more of the experience that you feel afterwards, and it's an escape, just like I was talking about playing video games. It's an escape from a certain reality, and it's also a coping mechanism. It helps you get through, or take a break from reality. And that's something like alcohol can be dangerous, because when you are drunk or in a drunken state, you are not really in control as much as you would like to be. Therefore, here comes room for mistakes. Here comes rooms for bad judgment calls, room for decisions that you really wish you didn't do. And even though you know that, you wake up the next day and you're like, dang, bro, I shouldn't have did that one, man. That was crazy. Like, why did I call him? Why did I do that? Why did I end up with her, end up with him? And sure enough, because you're addicted to that feeling of escape, you don't really like the situation that you're in reality, and you want to get away from that. And that, in that moment of you being drunk, or that moment of you having a good time while drinking, you want to relive that moment. Next thing you know, next weekend, bro, I just gotta have another drink. And then it just doesn't feel the same, because you don't get that same experience that you got last week. So you just keep going till you get drunk again. These are not only stories that I've heard, these are experiences that I've also felt with getting drunk, especially for the first time. When I was new to drinking, I wasn't really a drinker. I got to college and I started drinking, and I guess most people are like that. And then I experienced this thing that I'm describing. So now you become an adult, or you graduate college, you have instant access to it every single day. And now, you know what, like, you don't want that feeling to just be a weekend feeling. You want to feel that every single day, bro. So you do it almost every single day. Then it really starts to become your crutch. And now you don't even remember what it was like to cope on your own. You don't even remember what it's like to just be sober for a long, extended period of time. Bruh, that's crazy, right? Like that's how it happens. It's just you try to escape a reality, You find something that brings you joy, and then you rely on that thing that brings you joy, and then you unfortunately get addicted to it to a point where eventually you're just telling yourself like, man, I got to get over this thing. I got to fight this thing. That's when you know an addiction is a problem, when you feel like, yo, I can't anymore with this. Right? Like this is affecting not just myself anymore, it's affecting my people. You know, my people being like, you know, people in your circle, whatever the case may be. And man, that's a tough thing to identify, right? That's a tough thing to identify, to really like look at yourself and go like, yo, like this is a problem. I know, trust me, man, I know plenty of people that had a battle with alcohol per se. Here's another one, something I actually struggle with. And people have told me that this couldn't be possible. I come to find out that it is very possible. I was addicted to weed for a while. I don't mean addicted like you would to a cigarette, like you have to have it, because it is chemically designed for you. And maybe it could be too. Don't get me the line. It could be designed that way. But like, yo, I had to have it 24/7. Eventually I couldn't even work without it. You know, I didn't even like watching movies without being high. It was a lot I didn't want to do without being high. I'm not going to cap to you. Like, I needed it. It was the only way to get it. It was the only way to not make stuff so boring. For real. It's like, yo, I need this. Like, I need to be entertained, and that was my way of entertaining myself. To the point where same exact thing happened that I'm describing, where it wasn't causing detriment in my life, but I knew I was so reliant on it that I was like, yo, I gotta fight this thing, man. Like, this is crazy. So that's what I did. What I did was I was just like, yo, I'm gonna just get it away from me, right? Like I'm just get it out the crib or get it from out my face, whatever the case may be. So I go like a day, 2 days, 3 days. Now I was doing edibles, and with edibles, it's like it's so deep in your system that it takes a while for you to not feel the effects of it. So I'm going a couple days without it. I'm feeling good. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, I can do this. It's not that big a deal. Right, then like day 3, day 4, I experienced what is called withdrawals, and I didn't even realize that's what it was, until it like occurred to me that I stopped doing something in my daily routine, and I was feeling really like low and really just like, I don't know. It was just like, it was weird. I was feeling low, like I wasn't really myself. It was strange because I'm always, or at least I was always like really focused, positive, not really low like that. I normally keep a positive mindset, so it was really weird to me when, like, one day I was just like, I couldn't fight the energy to not be so tired, not be so exhausted. I didn't know what was happening for real. And then that's when it occurred to me. I was like, oh, I'm going through withdrawals. All right. It made sense. I didn't get it, but it made sense. Like, that was the case. So, I probably went maybe a week the first time, and I was like, all right, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm good on this. Man, I'm gonna tell you something. That week probably ended. It was the weekend. I didn't have much to do. I was like bored, I guess. I probably wanted to watch a movie, and what I say, I didn't like watching movies without being high. Sure enough, I went straight back to, let me grab this Eddie real quick. It'd be cool. Like, I'll just do it today, watch a movie, and I'll be straight. So got high, watched the movie. I was chilling, wasn't even thinking that much of it. Next thing you know, next day, I'm like, oh, it wasn't that bad. I don't even remember why I stopped. Did it again. Next day, did it again. Next thing I know, I'm back on that cycle without even realizing. It just happens. It just happens like that. So then I do the same thing. I go down the same spiral, and then eventually I stop again. Eventually I stop again. I stop. I go through the same motion. Everything happens the exact same way I just described it the first time. I get a little bit tired. I go through withdrawals. I go through the exact same thing happens basically. So to the point where I realized I realized the pattern. I realized what happens when you didn't. Realize what happened when you stopped. That I could start talking to other people about this exact same scenario or the exact same situation that I went through, and a lot of the conversations were the exact same. I had this one friend who was just talking about how she had to stop drinking, like it was causing an issue for her, like it was becoming a problem inside her house, inside her life, inside her relationships. Basically she was just been doing she just was getting relied on, and it was causing problems. So she said she stopped. She was just like, I can't even pass this. A lot of things about addiction is hereditary. So basically, this was something that she experienced, her parents experienced, and her grandparents experienced, and she was just like, I gotta get a hold on this. Basically, like, I'm not about to pass this to the kids. I can't do that. So she sure enough, she fights it. She wins the battle of addiction, or wins that initial battle of addiction, and she stops. She was like really proud, and like she said, she probably went maybe 3 weeks or so, and then she kind of just spiraled under control a little bit. It's like she got drunk again. Funny thing is, like, yeah, I know that pattern. I just talked about that pattern. I went through that pattern the exact same way, exact same thing. She said she started feeling withdrawals. She started feeling really low, like she couldn't really do it, man. And then she just told me, she was just like, I'm about to go again. I got 3 weeks without it. I'm about to try to do 3 weeks again. The battle itself is really the mental piece of you saying that you have to that you just going you're not going to let this thing have a hold of you. All right, that's the first mental thing. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy. It's not like you wake up the next day like, all right, well, that's over. It's like, no, you become so reliant on the thing that you are addicted to that it literally becomes a part of your day. Like, it becomes a part of who you are. And trust me, I get it. Like, trust me, I get it. The cool part about it is that you can actually beat this thing. You actually win this thing. How people win their battles are probably different, right? I can only speak for myself. I myself, if this is your first time listening, I say this a million times every time I talk about this. I am very spiritual. I listen to the Daily Audio Bible every single weekday morning, and I just listen to that positive energy. But for the most part, at the end of those sessions, they always have community prayer where people just call in. They just talk about the issues that they're going through, and they talk about battles that they win. And I just listen, and you'd be surprised at how people all over the world are just like, yo, this thing got a hold on me, and I gotta fight it. Like, I gotta fight it, man. and people, excuse me. And people win those battles. People win those battles because they always talk about, or they always call out the fact that they are losing the fight, right? And a lot of people don't even make it that far. You know, a lot of people don't ever say, I am losing this fight. When they admit it, then it starts to become easy. But it's hard to admit said thing. Okay, for example, you know what a lot of people are addicted to and a lot of people struggle with? A lot of people struggle with this particular battle is, hold on one sec. A lot of people struggle with this particular battle. Ready for the tough topic? It's porn. Hey, let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Don't even front. Like, it's a whole bunch of people out there that can't live without it, bruh. Come on. It's a whole lot of people that can't live without it. And that has a different effect on your mentality than let's say alcohol or weed. Like, those alcohol and weed, that actually reshapes temporarily the way that you're thinking. Right, but you need to be under the effects in order for it to, I don't know what I'm doing. You need to be inside the effects in order for, you know, you to be under that mindset. But porn, that's different because you ain't even got to be watching it. That junk will reshape your mind regardless of where you at, regardless of the situation. Trust me, I know. Yo, let's keep it a buck. It's a whole bunch of people that won't even admit that they watch it. It's a whole bunch of people that don't even admit that they can't live without it. That's way more terrifying to me than alcohol and weed, because there's people that will openly talk about both those things and won't really be affected by it. But there aren't a lot of people that will talk about, yo, I watch porn. Yeah, like, it got a hold on me. It's not a lot of people that'll do that because they're embarrassed about it. But it's like, well, remember what I just mentioned. It's like, in order for you to start battling addiction, sometimes you got to admit it. And I'm not going to say you got to call somebody and tell them, like, hey, man, yo, I just watched some crazy. Nah, I ain't saying that's the case at all. But you can't be afraid to admit it. And at least to yourself first and foremost. And when you admit it to yourself, you won't really care about who knows that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I want to tell people that it's, one, it affects a lot of people, and two, that you can get over that. I was introduced to porn when I was 13 years old, maybe 12. I don't know, maybe younger. I really don't remember. I remember specific stories, or specific incidences, and I think I was 12 or 13 or whatever the case may be. Something I was being shown. Bruh, you show something like that to a 13-year-old boy, that's gonna reshape the world for that 13-year-old boy, or 12, whatever the case may be. Just a young boy in general. Man. It's almost hard. It was almost impossible for me to not think about those images, not trying to recreate scenes. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to do that. It's like watching a basketball game. Like, yo, I think I can do that. I'm trying to go to the league. And that becomes dangerous, especially when you grow up around the opposite sex, or the same sex, but the opposite sex. And you have this mentality, or you have this falsehood of what what sex is supposed to be, or what interactions with women are. One second. So, yeah, it's like it's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing for sure. And a lot of people won't admit that. They won't admit that they even partake in it, that they see in it, that they're shaped by it. Matter of fact, some people, they toe the line so much that starts to become their identity. Think about that. Think about something that you're addicted to starts to become your identity. Ooh, that's dangerous, bro. That's dangerous for sure. Like you think you are that thing that you're addicted to. You don't even identify with who you actually are. You identify with the thing that frees you from the reality of life being so hard and life being so tough. I mean, listen to any older videos that I have about you having a purpose, and about life is hard, be persistent, and those kind of things. Like, yo, that's tough. So now when you addicted to something, bruh, you addicted to it and you can't escape it, and it becomes your identity. Man, next thing you know, you don't even know who you are. Now your life really spiraling out of control. Because when it becomes your identity, then you basically don't want to break that cycle. You basically saying, I want to live with this thing forever. I see people that I tell you, bro, smoke weed every day, bro. There ain't no problem with it. And listen, I ain't saying it is a problem with smoking weed. It's a problem with being addicted to it. That's for sure. That becomes a vice that you can't live without. Just like I don't think it's a problem with drinking. I think it's a problem with becoming addicted to it. I have a different opinion on porn. That's like I said, I'm very spiritual. I think it is a problem with it just overall. Last week, I think I was talking about the art of saying no. Because when you say yes to something and you survive it and you don't really see any issue with it, you just can keep saying yes, and without you knowing, you just like you don't ever see any issue with it. I think there are some things you probably should always say no to, honestly. But there are some things that I don't feel like is the end all be all. But I do feel like don't become addicted to it. So you gotta have what? Now you gotta have self-discipline on a whole new level to do things that would make you probably toe the line. Yeah, I missed majority of this quest. Practice playing the piano. What is happening? Anyway, majority of things like that are just like makes you go down a rabbit hole. I just feel like it's pretty dangerous, and I think you got to be careful with it. But everyone has their own like battle, right? So who am I to say like don't do this thing, do this thing? I don't know. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. But there are some things I would just say be very careful with, especially if you have an addictive personality. I think everyone has that. I think people get addicted to certain things differently. So I would just say be careful with this. I would just say be careful with certain things. So let me see. I'm trying to think. Like I said, I didn't plan on even getting on today. Like I was running out of topics. Running out of things to talk about. But let me see. I mean, I think this drives home. This drives the point. I'm not sure what's happening, but I think this drives home. This drives the point. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on this topic that maybe I didn't cover, that maybe I should cover. But for the most part, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's clear, it's straightforward on how dangerous certain things can be. I mean, I always just say battling addiction. I'm not talking about how to do the thing because, like I said, I think everyone battles differently, and my battle was different. But my faith is so strong in God that's how I battle. All right, like that's how I personally battle. I don't know about anybody else, but that's how I'm fighting addiction. I'm keeping my eyes on God and His teaching. You know, other people might have a different way of doing it. My suggestion was, is admit it first. First and foremost, my suggestion is to admit it to yourself. It doesn't have to be to anybody. Like I said, you ain't got to call somebody like, yo, man, I'm struggling with this. Hey, but accountability, people, accountability is very helpful. So an accountability partner is extremely helpful. I can have conversations with other people that are struggling with addictions because we speak on, we keep each other accountable. Now I'm opening up to the internet, so I would hope that the internet keeps me accountable. All right, like this could either be used to my detriment or someone might really benefit from it. Or both. I mean, it is what it is. But the whole point being is, in my opinion, the whole point is that you can beat this thing, bro. Honestly, you truly can. I'm winning mine, right? And it's more a war than a battle, if I'm being honest. But the title, I think, is called Battling Addiction because it will continue. But I think it gets easier and easier. Very, very easy to overcome something once you start. I always go back to my first gyms in gaming. I think it was called Solo Saturdays at the time, but first gyms in gaming, the best way to start is to start. It truly is. It truly is. And once you start, man, it just gets easier every single time. Ooh, shouldn't have did that. It just gets easier every single time. At least that's my thoughts on it. All right, so that's the lesson. I'll go into lighthearted topics, past this. Let me see. On the lighthearted topics past this, I was thinking about, I've been going to events recently here in Atlanta, like just meeting some really cool, down-to-earth people, all very different than myself. And I think that's just so dope that I can just interact with people who don't share the exact same experiences as me. And we can just have such a dope conversation, honestly, such a considerate conversation of different people. And that's just one thing that I learned with dealing with people. You have to just be generally open-minded and loving for the most part. I went to this event. It was like because I'm trying to get my business off the ground, so this event was more about talking about how to do that and certain experiences that this other business owner has. A lot of different people were just talking about their business ventures and what they do, and I find this super cool, and I like talking about this thing because I don't think I could have had such early success that I've had in my business if I wasn't more open-minded or beating my own addictions, because then I started getting addicted to improving myself and addicted to talking to other people of different walks of life and learning about them. And I think that empathy is very, very important. Just as a society, people are gonna have different viewpoints than you. Like that, it's facts. Um, they're gonna have different viewpoints than you. Expect that. Just expect that. Like, please don't wake up and talk to people and live your life not thinking that people are not gonna think differently than you. Like they 100% are. But also, don't judge them for it. That's one thing I had to learn, because I'm a very what's it called? I'm very like stuck in my ways, and I'm very pride. I don't want to say prideful. I hate that word, because I don't think I am, but I am very proud of my mentality and who I am, and proud of the ways that I think. But I wouldn't say prideful. Like, I would put my own agenda to the side if I felt like it wasn't for the betterment of others, depending on the situation, right? I'm not gonna put myself above others. So, I just think it's extremely important to have a level of empathy for other people and other walks of life, and just learning more about cultures that are different from yours. All right, I'm not gonna take y'all through this cutscene again. I did this in the first in gaming. They changed the game a little bit, but the cutscene is pretty much the same. I think it is the same. I can't really remember. But no, this was cool. This was dope. Didn't even plan on talking about it today. So we'll see, how this goes. We'll see if you guys like it. Check it out on YouTube. I'm streaming this on Twitch. Check it out on YouTube. If y'all have any questions, please put it in the chat, comment. But I'm looking forward to the next one. All right, y'all take it easy.